Can't decide and torn between a romantic, comedy, action, or an indie film to watch for the weekend? Well. Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast is your ultimate guide to the latest movies. Join us as we dissect the latest on the blockbusters. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast.
Welcome to GSMC Movie Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Cynthia, and right next to me is, can you guys guess?
So it's another person.
It's another person.
The opposing gender. Who is taller than you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Keith.
Keith. There
Cue
we go.
Applause.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if they can hear me clapping there.
Probably better for you not to actually clap.
No. How are we feeling today on this Wednesday afternoon, evening? I don't know.
Weird.
I feel like you and I are both in this weird state right now, as is every other person who's listening to this episode.
Especially in Northern California, since they're handing out a ton of restrictions and being don't go out of your house and blah, 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 blah. It's really dumb. So
you think it's dumb?
Well, I mean, okay. It's reasonable to a degree, but I mean, you were saying that your boyfriend's basically on lockdown.
Yeah,
is he allowed to go to the grocery store?
Yeah, it's not like a full on lockdown, like Italy, where they cannot leave their house unless it's they have to ask for permission basically from the government. In the Bay, it's basically pharmacies and groceries open. So you're allowed to go to those areas or to those stores, but no school, no work, nothing's open. I know food is takeout only, so no sit downs. Actually, here in where we're nearby in the Sacramento area, I went to Starbucks on Monday, and I walked in. I was gonna work on my show notes for the episodes I was gonna be recording on that day, and they had no chairs out. So it was only grab and go for drinks.
Yeah.
So they started implementing that rule here, in the Sacramento area. But yeah, it's a pretty crazy time we're living in right now. And, this virus is not only affecting it's affecting obviously our personal lives, but it's affecting the entertainment industry tremendously.
Oh, yeah, they've been delaying the release of
movies,
a bunch of movies
right,
or putting them straight to buy on demand online. So,
and do you remember? So, we had an episode a couple weeks back. We were saying which movies we're most looking forward to in 2020, and I mentioned that The Quiet Place 2 was going to be coming out in 2 weeks or the end of March, and they now push the release of that movie. They haven't announced when, but they said that obviously once this whole thing calms down, they'll announce when that movie comes out. But I'm so bummed. But it makes sense because they obviously want ticket sales and movie theaters aren't open. So it's why would they?
Yeah, why bother releasing it? Yeah, it's not I actually really appreciate, I saw that Trolls 2 is going to be available on demand.
Is it?
Which is great because that's a kids movie, and who's stuck out of school right now?
Kids.
Right. And who's stuck with them? Their parents.
Right.
So I think it's really great that they have that movie available to people.
Yes.
In, time like this.
But yeah, I feel like you and I are both in the weird state of mind right now. It's I'm not working right now because I work at gyms and those are closed. So it's I have all this time in the world and I'm what do I do? But I'm still trying to stick with a daily routine just so I don't go crazy. So I'm still waking up early, doing everything I would normally, but at home. So I'm just trying to keep my mind occupied. I'm trying to read more.
So you yell at your dog to do more push-ups?
Honestly, you know what I've been doing? I've been teaching my dog tricks.
Oh, that's funny.
Right. I'm I have all this time now, and obviously I bet all dogs are super happy with the lockdowns and quarantines because their owners are staying home. And so I know my dog is definitely pleased that the whole family is there like 24/7 now. But yeah, crazy times we're living in, which is basically the whole theme of today's episode. We're going to be talking about movies, I guess, that deal with some sort of epidemic, global epidemic.
Yeah. Or a post-apocalyptic general world.
Yeah. I'd say that my picks, they're more towards our current situation with coronavirus, and yours are more like, they're still epidemics, but not necessarily with dealing with the virus.
Yeah.
Which I liked all of your movie picks, actually. I do have to say, like, every single one, usually when you, like, recommend movies, I have a hard time understanding the trailer.
Yeah.
But every single trailer that I watched that you recommended this week, I literally wrote it down in my notes, like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I actually really liked all three movies
I'm
that you recommended.
You haven't seen any of them.
I know. I'm like so late, and these movies came out years back, so I'm like, where was I?
The most recent one was 2013, so it was 7 years ago. Now, I would have picked the two movies that you picked, but I had a feeling that you would pick them, so I just waited
they were on
until after.
Right. They were on Netflix, and
they're like the only movies on Netflix that have to deal with this. Let me tell you, I tried to look up good movies on Netflix that were not the two movies that we're going to recommend to you, and they are not on Netflix. They're on like Hulu, or
different
Amazon
streaming
Prime,
services,
or which is just really lame in my opinion. Netflix, up your game, yo.
Right, especially during this time. I feel like Netflix, they're for sure going to be making so much money with. Most people are like staying home and,
Well, they don't get money based off of streams because they don't have any advertisements. So.
But probably maybe new accounts being made?
Maybe, yeah. Who knows?
I don't know.
I mean, it's only a matter of time until we get commercials on Netflix.
I
have
hope not.
commercials on Hulu. We have commercials on YouTube. We have commercials on Amazon. No, Amazon doesn't need commercials.
No.
But like Netflix they'll need commercials eventually.
I hope not.
Well, like Disney Plus came in and took away half of the licensing that Netflix even has. So like half of the TV shows, half of everything that people would have used Netflix for, all of that business is being directed towards Disney. So unless Disney owns Netflix, which I don't know if they do, I don't think they do. If Disney somehow owns Netflix, then it's not a big deal. They don't need to drive more revenue because then they'll have a monopoly. But like if Netflix is just Netflix is going to have to up their game in some capacity in order to bring in more revenue at some point.
True.
So,
but yeah, hopefully they don't put ads in because that would just suck. That's actually why I canceled my Hulu account because there are so many ads, and I feel like Hulu, it constantly freezes. So I'm definitely a Netflix over Hulu any day. So let's get into the first movie here that we have for the show. And this movie is on Netflix, and I was surprised it's actually listed as top 10 for Netflix. Netflix has, I don't know if you've been on Netflix lately, Keith, but there's this new feature on Netflix where it'll show like the top 10 either shows or movies currently on Netflix. Yeah. And there's like a little number in the corner. So Outbreak, that's the first movie we're going to be talking about. It was listed as number 7 in top 10 for Netflix. And it's a 1995 action drama film. And I'm going to read you guys the synopsis. Army doctors struggle to find a cure for a deadly virus spreading throughout a California town that was brought to America by an African monkey. So pretty comparable to our situation now, but ours wasn't brought by an African monkey. The director of this film is Wolfgang Peterson. Writers are Lawrence Duarte and Robert Roy Poole. And I actually really liked the cast. Most of these are like Oscar nominated or Oscar winning actors. They include Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, Patrick Dempsey, and Cuba Gooding Jr. Huh. So it's a pretty like the acting.
Cast.
Yeah, the acting's pretty A1, and for being like a
A1.
Yeah, like it's
Air Force One.
Air Force One. That's what I'm wearing right now. Those are the shoes I'm wearing now.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, no, I like the cast. The acting's pretty good. Great shots. I will say I was getting a tremendous amount of anxiety while watching the film. And I think it's only because we're like in that situation right now. So I found myself having to pause a couple times throughout the movie. It's a 2-hour long film. And especially, obviously, like, an Outbreak, it's more towards drama than like realism compared to the next movie that I'll be talking about. But there were certain parts throughout the movie that I felt were just like, it hit almost too close for home. Like, it was just like really real. For instance, there's a few scenes throughout the movie which is like the same problem we're facing right now. Too many people are sick. Too many people are getting infected with a virus. And, you know, the hospitals are getting bombarded with all these sick people. They don't have enough beds. And just seeing the hysteria on this movie, like I kind of I felt my heart starting to race. I was like, I need to like pause just because like I'm not able to enjoy the movie. So I actually had to like take a break. So that was an unexpected reaction from my part, just because I don't know. I didn't expect to like get freaked out like that from watching Outbreak. Yeah. I don't know. What do you have any opinion? Like, did you watch the trailer for Outbreak, or what were kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched the trailer. It was it's funny. The trailer is, because there seems to be a lot of focus on like the originator of the disease. So this host. Yeah, the host, the monkey. So it's really funny because they picked like, I don't even know what species of monkey it is. It kind of looks like the monkey version of Zaboomafoo, because Zaboomafoo is a lemur. So, but it's pretty funny. Yeah, and it's like, it's commentary on like a bunch of different things all at once. Like, we shouldn't be exchanging exotic animals. What if they have contagious diseases? Mm-hmm. Also, look at the healthcare system. Also, like, it just kind of seems like they are trying to kill a lot of birds with one stone with this particular film. And also, the movie trailer is just like classic 90s action movie. Mm-hmm. Like, with like, even with like right down to the Morgan Freeman kind of like monologue right at the beginning of it, which is pretty funny. So I didn't see the trailer. I just like right away clicked it on Netflix because it was like top 10. So I was like, hey, might as well, you know? Yeah. We're going to be talking about, you know, global epidemic movies anyway. So I was like, why not? I'll watch it. So that's funny. But yeah, it was like, I don't know. I feel like I probably would have enjoyed the movie more if we weren't in this situation. But yeah. I just like really, like I said, I kept pausing it. But it was still like a good movie. Like I said, I like the cast. Of course, there are certain elements to the movie that are very Hollywood. That's like, doesn't make it as believable. Yeah. Which is fine. But overall, I think it's still a great movie. If you have the time, go watch it. But if you don't, it's also not like you're completely missing out. Feel me? Yeah. And I think that's going to wrap up for this first segment. And when we come back after the break, we're going to share with you guys our next pick.
Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the GSMC Movie Podcast. I'm Keith.
Like they forgot your name?
Yeah, just in case. It's been a whole, 30 seconds.
Whole 30 seconds.
Yeah. So what's our next pickup over here?
So our next pick over here, it is a 2011 action / they labeled it as a sci-fi film, and it is Contagion. And I started hearing about this movie because it was trending on Twitter. So I was like, what is this movie? And of course, with the coronavirus outbreak right now, it sparked a renewed interest in this film, sending it to the top of iTunes rental charts. Oh. Yeah. So that was pretty surprising. So I was like, okay, let me watch the trailer for it.
Yeah.
And the synopsis goes, healthcare professionals, government officials, and everyday people find themselves in the midst of a pandemic as the CDC works to find a cure. So basically the same plot as the Outbreak. The director of this film is Steven Soderbergh.
Which he's a very out there director. So I'm kind of surprised that
he's in the movie as well. He actually plays.
Is he really?
Yeah, he does.
That's awesome.
And then the writer of Contagion is Scott Z. Burns. The cast is also really great. It includes Matt Damon, Kate Winslet, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, and others. And one interesting fact here about the movie is that Kate Winslet filmed her role in 10 days.
That's nuts.
Right? Because usually you hear about like movies filming for like months. And the fact that she just got the scripts like, hey, let me bust this out in a week and a half.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Have you seen the movie? I haven't seen the movie. I just saw the trailer.
I have also only seen the trailer. I just remember like there's a scene in the trailer where they're like in a gym and it's like showing the red of the virus spreading. Oh, it just creeped me out. I was like, oh yeah, I should always wash my hands.
Yeah. And even just watching the trailer of this movie again, sparked so much anxiety in me just because like I don't like seeing people freak out. And that's even, I don't know. I feel like I'm always like that because I try to keep things like cool, calm, collected. I try not to freak out too much, especially like a great example is say I'm a passenger, someone's driving, and if the driver is really timid or like nervous or jumpy, like that makes me really jumpy. And I feel that's the same way with like characters in these specific movies, like them being super just like frantic and worried. Yeah. It sparks a lot of panic inside me. And I think again, it's just like the time we're living in right now. I think if I were to watch these movies a month ago, I would have been like totally cool. Yeah. So I was also like, I'm freaking out because also in the trailer I watched, they're like showing like the hospital scenes, and I'm not like, I also don't like watching things with like blood, needles. Oh. So like I think also like it was not that these are gory, but just seeing
people being in medical care.
Right. Like it spooks me just because I'm not like, I don't have too much experience in hospitals, which is like great for me. Yeah. So I think that's why I'm just a little more sensitive to it. And
fair.
But yeah, Contagion, I think I want to watch it because everyone's been talking about it, and many critics say that Contagion is extremely comparable to our current situation than any other virus, global epidemic movie. So as I mentioned previously, Outbreak tends to be geared more towards drama versus what's
actually happening. Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that Contagion is like pretty spot on with what we're experiencing right now. And it's just a little crazy because these movies were filmed, like I said, Contagion came out 2011 and Outbreak was 1995. So these movies came out a few years back, and it's like we're now living in it. So
yeah, it's very, very surreal.
Pretty trippy. Yeah, it's definitely trippy.
Even just doing this podcast feels weird.
I know.
It
you and I.
Weird. It's like I feel like I'm not supposed to be here doing this, but here I am.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, not that I'm complaining. I'm excited to be doing this, but like, still, it's definitely interesting. And like driving places, there's like nobody out on the roads.
No traffic.
And like, I imagine your drive here was like 20 minutes.
Yeah. 40. Yeah.
Still
nice.
40 even without traffic. Wow.
Yeah. But it's like a smooth, like at least I have good music playing in the car or I'm listening to like another podcast. So
Yolo County, where you are located, is on shelter in place now, right?
Yeah. So everything, they just had a meeting. Because I work at a gym out there, and the owner, she told me she was having a meeting with, I don't know, people in the government. So
county officials usually is who it's been.
Exactly.
So
pretty crazy times now.
So
I think let's go into your next picks, because to be honest, I think your picks are way more interesting than the ones I chose. I only chose these because I felt like they're they relate to what's going on with everything with coronavirus.
Yeah, they're very topical.
Right.
Yeah. Not that they're bad movies. I mean, anything by Steven Soderbergh is probably pretty good. So I'm definitely interested in seeing the movie
Contagion.
with
Me
Gwyneth
too.
Paltrow, though I have heard that she doesn't last very long in that movie. So.
Oh, yeah. It's in the trailer. So we're not like spoiling anything. She doesn't last very long. Yeah. It's in the trailer.
So she does die. Okay,
yeah.
Well, why you got to do Gwyneth like that?
That's
all I'm gonna
right?
say. Yeah.
Right.
Get us all like, oh, hey, look.
She's in the movie.
She's in the movie. No, she's not. Not really.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So my first pick for this week is the movie I Am Legend, which came out in 2007. It stars Will Smith, and it was directed by Francis Lawrence of Hunger Games fame. He actually directed a couple of the Hunger Games movies, which is pretty exciting.
So you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And it's Will Smith. When I saw Will Smith.
Like, classic heyday Will Smith.
Yes, yes.
Like just coming off the coattails of Men in Black Will Smith.
Yeah.
This was before Will Smith got Nicolas Caged, where it's just like now he's in everything and he's not like, it's not like he's doing anything in particularly great. I feel like his real downfall was at like, Pursuit of Happiness or whatever?
He's never had a downfall. He's still doing his thing.
No,
Will Smith
the one where he gives away all his organs. Like I was like, oh wow, that's lame. And then after that, his movies just got bad.
No,
I heard he did really well in Aladdin, though. I heard he was a great.
I
genie.
still haven't seen Aladdin. Will Smith is like one of my favorite actors, so I feel like I'm biased because if I ever like whenever he stars in anything, it's like I already know I'm gonna like it just because he's starring in it.
Yeah,
but I mean, that was a huge like factor into why I'm like, oh, I need to see I Am Legend. But I like the plot of the movie.
The basic breakdown is that Robert Neville, played by Will Smith, is a scientist who was unable to stop the spread of a terrible virus that was incurable and man-made in this post-apocalyptic action thriller. Immune, Neville is now the last human survivor in what is left of New York City and perhaps the world. For 3 years, Neville has faithfully sent out daily radio messages, desperate to find any other survivors who might be out there. But he is not alone. Mutant victims of the plague, the infected, lurk in the shadows, watching Neville's every move, waiting for him to make a fatal mistake. Perhaps mankind's last and best hope, Neville is driven by only one remaining mission: to find a way to reverse the effects of the virus using his own immune blood. But he knows he is outnumbered and quickly running out of time. So, yeah, it's definitely a thriller, and it's really interesting how like they're able to fill as much space as they do with the movie with like just basically one character, and Will Smith does an incredible job acting in this. I believe it's based off of a book or a comic book or something like that, and there was a lot of people who were upset at the ending of the movie because it's so substantially different from the ending of the book, which I think is funny because I'm pretty sure that the book ends much more hopelessly than the movie does. Like the movie ends, I'm not going to spoil it, but just the book ends in a
I
much
know,
more
because I'm like,
sad way
I want
than
to
the movie
watch this.
ends.
I really want to watch it.
Yeah, you're all looking at me like, what are you
I know.
doing?
I'm like,
Don't
what are you going to
say
say?
it.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to watch it.
No. Yeah, it's definitely really good. I enjoyed most of it. It's cool. The premise is really interesting, and like there's a lot of really tense action scenes and a little bit of like, I don't know, like religious undertones and things like that. So it's definitely, they do a good job with it, and I highly recommend it. Personally.
So Will Smith is like the only character basically in the whole movie,
and his dog, yeah,
and his
Will
dog.
Smith
That's what I
dog,
saw.
yeah.
That's crazy, and I can imagine how challenging that must be. That's a skill to be able to be a one solo, actor, actress, and like be able to entertain an audience for that long, just being you. Like your skills have to be like just over the top, not even over the top, just like
exemplary, really.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So he definitely kills it in that film. He does a really, really good job.
I can't believe I haven't watched it. I feel like I've heard of this movie and I just never got myself to watch it. The trailer does look like a video game, like a trailer for a video game than a movie for some reason to me. Like when I was watching, I'm like,
yeah, well, because it like goes through his routine, his daily routine.
Right.
Is like very stringent. And actually, when he was like going to figure out how to play the role, he was contacting people who had been in solitary confinement to try and figure out like how did you make it through solitary confinement. And they specifically said like a very strict regimen, like a very strict daily regimen is what you need. And so that was kind of the point of that.
Something funny was I read somewhere that the dog that's in the movie, Will Smith wanted to buy the dog from the owner in real life after filming because he like grew such a strong connection with the dog, but the owner said no.
Oh.
So I was like, that was just, I think I read that actually on
probably IMDb.
Yeah, IMDb.
Yeah.
I must have been there. Cause I
know he took the dog on dates before they started filming the movie, so he'd go hang out with the dog.
Just to, like, get comfortable?
Yeah, well, like, to figure out what the dog was like. Because, like, the point, like, part of the premise is that, like, the dog is the only other living thing that he has any companionship with, so he would have to, like, really know this dog.
Right.
And if he didn't really know this dog, then it wouldn't be as believable. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll get to my other two picks right after we take another quick commercial break.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC Movie Podcast. And Keith is now going to be sharing his last two picks. Again, these are both great movie picks. Like I said, I'm excited to see all three of these. I think when I get home later after recording, I'm actually going to try and find I Am Legend. That's the first one I want to see.
Yeah.
But these next two you recommended, I liked as well.
Yeah,
They're all very different.
I know.
They're all very different.
I like to think of myself as having a pretty wide I don't know.
Versatile.
Yeah, like I like a plethora of things. So, the first movie that I have that I want to recommend is Warm Bodies, which is just this really cutesy zombie movie. So the basic premise is, with much of the world's population now an undead horde, R is a young and oddly introspective zombie. While fighting with and feeding on a human scavenger party, R meets Julie and feels an urge to protect her. What happens next is the beginning of a strangely warm relationship that allows R to begin regaining his humanity. As this change spreads through the local undead population like a virus, Julie and R eventually have to face a larger issue when the very nature of their friendship is challenged. Caught between the paranoid human forces and the ferocious Bonies, zombies who are a mutant threat, R and Julie must find a way to bridge the differences of each side to fight for a better world no one thought possible. And I just want to say, R and Julie, yes, Romeo and Juliet. It is supposed to be like a Shakespearean retelling of... Yeah, it's supposed to be like Shakespeare,
Forbidden
but with zombies.
Love.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Except
God, I
for
did not
this ends
catch
much
that.
more positively than Romeo and Juliet. I mean, spoilers, but this is kind of like... I don't know. I want to call it like a rom-com. It's very much a comedy, and the elements of like action that are in it are very minimal. And like the disease of zombification is like not explained at all. It's just like, hey, there's zombies.
Right.
And
like there's no background info.
Yeah. But like the point of the movie isn't for there to be like some sort of like science-y or like hyper-realistic thing. Like the point of the movie is this relationship between the zombie and the human, and it's pretty funny.
I know. I actually caught myself like smiling little from when I watched the trailer. And I actually remember when this movie when the trailer came out. This was 2013, right? I remember it came out, and then again, I just like got lazy, didn't go to the movie theaters, never.
I don't remember how I ended up seeing this. I think it was on a double date or something like that.
A double date?
Years ago. Yeah. And it was just so cute. It also has a band that I really love called The National.
Okay. I've heard of The National.
That's right. Yeah, we listened to one of their records at the beginning of the podcast last year. No, The National is pretty heavily featured. I think they have 2 or 3 songs in this movie.
Like on the soundtrack of the movie?
On the soundtrack, yeah, which is pretty great. So the soundtrack's definitely super enjoyable, and the movie is really enjoyable too. It's really just like cute. It's a great date movie.
It was a great break for me because I was like, okay, I watched Outbreak, Contagion. Then I watched I Am Legend. There's like all these terrible things happening. So when I watched Warm Bodies, I was like, oh, that is like a relief. Like I actually found myself like chuckling a couple times.
It's just cute.
It is very cute. And who else is featured in there? James Franco or Dave Franco? Which one's the younger brother, the shorter one? Dave Franco. Yeah, he's in that movie. I didn't know that.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, he doesn't last super long.
No, either.
I don't think so. I'd have to double check, but yeah, he's in it. I actually really like him. He gets typecast as like the same dude most of the time, which is pretty funny, but he just does that same dude so well. It's like really hard to not like love him and hate him at the same time, which is the point of his character almost every time.
Right.
Just like, yeah, it's funny that like James Franco is such a unique and interesting looking individual, and his younger brother is just like the epitome of handsome. Like you just look at his face and his jawline is just perfect.
It's cut like a knife.
I know, yeah. And then he's always got the great hair and that voice. Like everything about him just exudes.
But then you see him and he's short. Exactly. He's like half your size, Keith. He's literally half your size.
Most men who are that handsome are half my size. Right. It's just the way that the cookie crumbles. If I was half my size, would probably be double as handsome because all of the greatness that is in this 6'4" body would have to fit into,
half of 5'2"? Is that half of it?
3'2" would
3'2".
be 5 or no, 6'4" is I guess it'd be 3 feet 2 inches. Yeah, I think that's right. So yeah, but actually that would look a little bit weird. That'd be
a little bit.
Yeah,
it'd be very short. This movie looks like a better version of Twilight. I wrote that in the notes.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I can agree completely that it does look like a better version of Twilight.
Right, because Twilight, we have like the vampire and the human, like same concept of like the forbidden love. Mm-hmm. But like when I was watching, like, this looks better than that. And I would definitely want to see Warm Bodies for sure.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. I really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Before we get to our last pick for this week, I just want to mention Netflix is lame. I love you, Netflix, but you just don't have very many good movies.
Movie-wise, they got to step it up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I don't want to watch a TV show because that, forces me to binge watch because I know myself. If I watch one good show, I'm going to get hooked. They're going to leave me with a cliffhanger and I got to just end up watching 5 all in one sitting. And a lot of times I just want to watch a quick movie, something, I'm there for an hour and a half, max 2. And I agree with you, Keith. Movie wise, not the best. Show wise, pretty bomb. They have great TV shows, but they need to step up their game with the movies. So CEO of Netflix or anybody who works in Netflix, if you are listening to this, please take note. This is a critique.
Yeah. Friendly critique.
Really interesting. Okay. When I was living in San Jose, I actually applied to Netflix because their headquarters are in Los Gatos, which is
awesome.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
To be but I never got a call back. But I was like, what the heck? I was like, might as well just apply.
Netflix sucks even more now.
Right.
You didn't call Cynthia back?
I was, actually the position was to be, I think I had to do the subtitles in Spanish.
Huh.
Yeah. I forgot the name. It was bilingual.
Yeah.
Something. I don't remember the actual but this was a long time ago. This was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I was fresh out of college, so I was like, I'm just applying to all these jobs, and Netflix had to be one of them.
Huh.
But it's fine, everything happens for a reason.
It does. Yeah, you probably wouldn't be here if you had gotten that gig.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. At all.
Okay. Well, I guess then Netflix doesn't suck as bad. Thank you for not calling Cynthia back.
Right.
So the last movie that we're going to recommend, neither of us have seen. I have seen Warm Bodies and I have seen I Am Legend, but I have not seen this one, and it is called Children of Men. It is actually apparently it's kind of like a classic, I guess, as much as a movie from 2006 I think can be a classic. Either way, in this it's London 2027.
That's like close.
7 years from now. Yeah.
Right, that's
in
close.
this dystopian world, humans have been incapable of reproducing for 18 years for an unknown reason. Okay, so we're good as of right now. Meaning the imminent extinction of the species. Britain is the one remaining civilized society on the planet, which has resulted in people wanting to immigrate there. As such, it has become a police state in order to handle the immigrants who are placed into refugee camps. Lowly government bureaucrat Theo Farron, once an activist, is approached by the Fishes, deemed a terrorist group, led by his ex-wife Julian Taylor, who he has not seen in close to 20 years. Their marriage, which disintegrated following the death of their infant son Dylan during the 2008 flu pandemic. That is not a complete sentence. Although the Fishes did use terrorist means in their ongoing revolution against the state in the fight for immigrant rights, Julian vows that they now garner support solely by speaking to the people. What she wants is for Theo to use his connections to get transit papers for a young immigrant who is, drumroll, pregnant.
Boom.
So she's super important because she's the first person to be pregnant in a very
18
long
years.
time. Yeah.
Okay, it's really quick. In the trailer, what made me laugh was I just thought it was funny how they made this pregnant woman take off her whole shirt instead of her just like turning to the side to show the baby bump or just like lift her shirt. Like, what was the point of her just like completely undressing herself and just like being there covering her breast, like showing the belly? Like that was so extra. I feel like it was just
supposed to make it, that was the point. It's supposed to feel extra, It's supposed to feel like this is a very dramatic and serious movie.
It made me chuckle a little bit. I was like, Hollywood, man.
Well, I mean, I don't know if exactly, like it's not like it's being like hypersexual.
No, not at all.
No, it's not exactly like a sexy shot.
Yeah, no. It definitely not like that. But I just thought it was funny because like, I'm like, oh, like I watched it and then like a couple seconds I'm like, wait, she just like took her whole shirt off. But okay. I wasn't bothered by it by any means. I really it was really interesting. Like another great movie pick by you. You get an A+ from me this week. I loved all of the 3 movies you chose.
Thank you.
I was able to understand the trailer one time through. Didn't have to rewatch any. Didn't have to do any additional work.
Yeah.
And they're all very different. Like they're all like post, apocalyptic world or something of that sort. And they're all very different stories. So I definitely appreciate your picks. And I hope you listeners do as well, because I think these are really great. And Children of Men, I hope this is on Netflix.
It's not, unfortunately.
Oh my God, all the good movies.
No, none of my 3 picks are on Netflix.
So that means I have to like go out my way and like try and find it.
So Children of Men is on Hulu, but you have to have the Stars edition for it. I think that's the same that like with Prime, like you have to have the Stars thing. I Am Legend, I think it's only on like iTunes to rent, I would guess. I don't know if iTunes has a movie subscription thing. And I didn't look for where Warm Bodies is. I would guess it's probably on Hulu. It seems like the type of content that Hulu would have on its website. So yeah, I apologize everybody for making suggestions for movies that aren't super easy to get to, but like they're good movies. And Netflix just apparently doesn't have good movies. Though I will say, I watched my first Netflix original last week. Did you? Which one? A Marriage Story.
Oh, how was that? Because that's like been nominated for all these awards.
It was really good. It felt like the biggest reason that it got nominated for a lot of awards was because of how honest of a look it took at divorce from the female perspective, which is something that we haven't seen enough of, in my opinion. So like, yeah, I was very impressed at like just the amount of like knowledge that I was able to accrue about the divorce process. And then on top of that, just like the profound ways in which relationships change and how people are affected and what heartbreak looks like and things like that. And, it definitely was really interesting and really sad and melancholy and like uncomfortable. The movie was just uncomfortable.
Really?
The whole time I was uncomfortable. And like that can be a good thing, I guess. I'm not really sure if I want to qualify it as a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah. So
I know it's been like there in the corner of my eye, but
it's worth a watch.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I mean, might as well.
Yeah, it's not like they have anything else worth watching.
Right. Shade. Keith is throwing all the shade to Netflix.
I'm just upset. This whole week is just weird. And
it is. It has been. It has been.
Yeah, and our podcast is going to end up being like 20 minutes short of what it normally is today just because things are just so weird.
I know. You and I
that's all we've got for you.
I know. That is it, you guys. I hope we didn't stress you out with all of this virus talk and
seriously.
like the world ending and
the world's not ending.
No,
let me just say that
there is a movie out on Netflix that's called How It Ends.
Oh, interesting.
So I might watch that too because it's just like, why not? I'm in the spirit. I want to learn. Well, how can I prepare? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Basically, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So we had this week. We talked about Outbreak, Contagion, I Am Legend, Warm Bodies, and Children of Men. Definitely check all those out and let us know in the comments if you do and which one you like the most. Mm-hmm. Like and subscribe.
Share, comment.
Follow us on Twitter. Give us a 5-star review. We love 5-star reviews.
All of that.
We should read the reviews. We should do that for an episode one time. I bet you there's some pretty funny ones up there. Mm-hmm. Hopefully not any 1 stars. It's like 5 stars. Like I remember this one joke that Keith told, and we'll like go back and relive that joke. It'll be great.
Or I'll be like, oh, Keith needs to stop telling jokes. 1 star. JK.
Ouch. On that note, we will see you guys next week. Best of luck to all of you who are in difficult situations. Yeah.
Wash your hands.
Yes.
And stay positive, you guys. We're all in the same boat. We're all gonna get through this. So
yes, we are.
On that note, Keith and I, we wish you a happy and a healthy week.
Yes.
And we'll catch you guys
especially
here.
the healthy part.
Yeah, especially the healthy.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.